Hi, and welcome back again to another episode of Words with Al. So, in this one, we are continuing on the last presentation concerning language development. And we are going straight to the next word, which is ur. Ur is a very old word, it's an old idea. Remember that ideas and words are pretty much the same thing. So we realized ideas first, and then we assigned sound to those ideas, which then would later become words. Yes. So we have here the phonetic shape of the sound, which is u, deep, grounded, womb-like, and r, the rolling resonant root stem force. R, u, and r. So u is always low, and is the vibration of life itself, the movement of life. Yeah. Okay. So that it's like a hum from the core of Earth. That is what it how it was perceived back then. So we find this sound, this word, traveling throughout many civilizations. We see this spreading, but beginning very early on in the Sumerian city Uruk, today's Iraq, Iraq, Uruk, right? Same place. What it meant back then, city, foundation, or original place, right? So something very old. And then in Hebrew, Aramaic, it would later come to mean light flame, divine fire, sacred spark. Whilst in the Germanic Old Norse, ur, means ancient or very old. And then you have the German English ur, well, original, primal, proto, and so on and so forth. But then you have the Albanian, strangely enough, you find the Albanian ur, which is bridge, which is very strange because we know that the city of Uruk, the first city that we built, consisted of was famous for its bridge. It was the first city with a bridge, which is very strange that we find this word in Albanian because we mustn't forget that they well, maybe they were not so cut, or maybe they the same people, or did this word travel, this sound travel, did this knowledge travel to other people and then they later adopted it? We don't know, but it seems as though this sound was shared once upon a time, because remember that the further back in time we go, the less people we were, the smaller population size there were, and thus also language itself becomes actually less and less and less diverse. Yeah, so what we find is more universal conceptual understanding of sound. But we find more words as well. We find ur, again, life force, and then uri, which means hunger, and uru means to wish someone well, or to express vigor. Again, going back to what is something very ancient and very rudimentary. Okay. You have also the Arabic ura or nakedness, exposure, or root. Okay. And then you have the Indo-European, well, it's a theory, that one, which they have assigned rise, heat, and high. But that is not it, because we find this word in the old Scandinavian languages that were not included in standardization in the beginning. Ur, we find it in Old Norwegian and Old Swedish, Old Danish, um, before it, well, um, so it can't have meant It can't have meant rise, heat, or high. That is a theory that is straying away from the roots, as we see here. So, so what I'm saying is that this sound meant something for a specific people, and then that meaning would change according to where it developed and how it developed within that specific group. So, meaning that the Indo European theory assumes some sort of isolation. It assumes that we made these sounds in isolation, and that we probably all of us just made these sounds in isolation, and we reached to the same conclusion, or they really can't explain it. Well, the truth is they can't explain it. They don't know how this happened, and that is because they haven't looked at it from this perspective. It is really that simple. It is super simple. So it does not mean rise, heat, or high, but it means literally the first, the old, and the primal. Okay. Okay, now we have the phonetic cluster, ra, ra, ra. Okay, ra. This is very old, also very, very, very old. Here we have again the rolling R, active, flowing, forward moving, and A as open, bright, expansive. Ah, ra. But together they posit the semantics of motion toward light, breath of life, flow of energy. Okay, but it will you will see also why this is the case. Now, key semantics across civilizations. We see this sound in Old Egypt pertaining to the sun god, divine source of light. So Ra is the source of life and order in Old Egypt. But and then and in Sanskrit, this becomes comes to mean sun, radiant, and motion. And then you have the Hebrew Ra, which then this sun or this fire, this energy, this light becomes evil for the Jewish people, for the Jewish speaking people. And they have literally conceptualized this into meaning something evil. But in the beginning, it literally meant light, which is where we also find the word um, ray. The English word ray comes from the word ra. And we also find it here in the Arabic, it means spirit. In Latin, we have the radiare, radius, so to ray, to shine. Albanian res, but we have also the Albanian ra, which means to fall. So light is falling, and the English ray, and then the old Church Slavonic ra. Okay, often seen in names roots of sun or joy. Right. So this word has traveled, creating the foundation for many other words in other types of languages. Okay, because this word would then also create the Latin rect, erect, erect, rise it, rise something here, right? Erect. I have made a video about that one, which then would later make the other words reich, recht, rain, right, and so on and so forth. So very many other words that we find in European or Indo-European languages. Hi, I was cut there, so so I will begin again, but not entirely from the beginning though. But yes, so in essence, what we get here is we get some words travel and becoming the foundation for very many other words. So this ra sound is a root sound for many, many other words, or yes, modern words. So this is how we can trace back our lineage through sound, or at least through language development, that science today has been unable to do. But what we see here is literally what is very interesting here is that we also see that the Hebrew went from remember that they were part of the Egyptians before they became Hebrew, and because the Hebrew more represents the introduction of the Abrahamic religions. Okay, because what we find is this is very interesting, but well, I will do that in a separate video, but I can speak a little bit about it here. The word God. So you have no idea what this where this word comes from or this sound, but it actually comes from if you just chop it up or just pronounce it in as many possible ways you can, you will see how this word has developed. So it originally meant Jude, 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 Yud, 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 Jude, Jude, Good, Good, God. Okay, yeah. So that was the Jewish people. The Jewish people introduced God, Jude, Judah. That is where we get the idea of God. Before that, there was idea of the all, the all, or ilu, el, because they have a different word now. Remember that they have an el word for God, whilst the Christians took the Jude word. Yeah, because it spread with Judaism, and Christianity. That word became would later be tweaked, meaning God. Yeah, very strange this development, but that is what happened. But this word Ra is very old, super old, and it would later lay the foundation through which many new words would be created. So which then would kind of make it seem as though it has no connection to its roots, but it does. It really does. It all goes back to sun god, or the sun itself, or the light itself. Ray, falling light. Yeah, because the Egyptians were very interested in astronomy, and so were the prehistory, the times of the prehistory, and we know that through all the monuments, through Stonehenge, through all the pyramids that exist on Earth, and so on and so forth. So all these people had this uh, inclination of understanding existence and astronomy very early on, and we see this in language as well. Yeah. Okay. We see that language actually developed because of their need or wanting to understand their own existence. Quite interesting. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a little bit more here about what is, well, so the symbolic field of rays, radiance, light, movement, life force, spirit, breath, duality. Just in the Hebrew though, that's where it becomes evil, because remember that the Hebrew introduced the idea of God and hell. So hell and God were introduced by the Jewish people, and this had never been done before. This had never been done before. We had no idea of hell, right? We just had the idea of sun, of light, of fire. We had seen fire. We knew fire was dangerous, but this whole idea of evil um, happened. Well, I won't explain all of it, but it happened because because they did not understand their essence. They were starting to get afraid of death itself, or the lack of fear of death caused people to behave quite crazy. So they had to like restrict them a little bit and create this new law, which was religion, which literally means religion, our new law. And that is what happened. The Abrahamic religions began occurring or spreading those ideas. And then we get the introduction of evil and hell. So everyone who is evil will go to hell. Okay, but that was not what it meant prior. We had no idea of hell. Hell just did not exist, and it still doesn't. It just exists in the minds of man and woman. But it that is where this has its roots from. Yes. So it's light itself. It's life and light, which later would be turned into evil. Whether this was a political thing or not, we don't really know. Maybe this was an attempt to control the masses, because remember that they were free, and freedom was not really what the elites wanted, because they could manipulate you, or they'd rather not share their gains. Remember that our development really relies on, or is dependent on, or was driven by these two opposing groups: the wealthy and the poor, or the commoners. The wealthy and the commoners, the wealthy and the commoners, right? It began with the kings, like very simple leaders, one leader who represented them all, and that they all protected this leader because this leader worked in their interests, and they acknowledged and respected and recognized this leader as their king. Um, but then that would later start creating the hierarchy and the whole selfishness pyramid, where the ones on top start exploiting the ones below them, creating these groups where the elites begin to distance themselves from the commoners. Okay, and whether this was an attempt to create God and hell to scare you and control you, we don't really know. But we know that this happened, and this was not seen before. So we knew about paradise because paradise is a very old word, much older than religion itself. So, and paradise means before knowledge. And what was before knowledge? Earth, a big garden, a lush, big garden that was floating in the sky in heaven. Earth, right? That was what it is. And it pertained to before knowledge, before we began speaking. Yes, and understanding. So that is what we get. But here we also have, so I was talking a lot here, but I'm trying to explain this development, and this is not a straight line. It's like a accumulation of power, and then that power spreads, and then it accumulates other places, and then that falls, and then that spreads, and then it continues on and on and on, and that creates us a very many distinct languages and groups of people who have experienced different types of things, creating unique identities. Okay. Yes. What else do we have here? We have side by side semantic echoes. Origin, primal force, root. Indeed, that is what it is. And then we have Ra, radiance, movement, light, spirit. Absolutely. Ur is what lies at the center, and Ra is what radiates from it. Now, this is very beautiful. You have no idea what you just heard here, but Ura. That is literally the manifestation of the sounds of life itself from the depth coming out. Okay, and that sound is supposed to represent the core of the sun coming out and emitting light itself. So our ancestors were so tied to sun and to the light itself that they also sang it. This is where it gets very crazy, because now we don't really know what happened here. Did they sing before they began speaking? And it seems as though they did. So they sang, so the original state was stillness, and then they began singing, or humming and singing together with all the animals, because all the animals were also humming and singing, like the birds, like the grasshoppers, like the wolves, the all absolutely all the animals, all the living organisms were humming in their own way. And so were we once upon a time. And this song united us. But yes, okay. So we go on. One is womb, the other sun. One holds, the other moves. One is foundation, the other expression. That is Ura. Yeah, really, really beautiful. Okay, now we are going to continue on with the next big one because we have a lot of big sounds here, big names, big words, big ideas that have been shared by us, by the people of Earth. Okay, so a little bit about the phonosemantic insight. Chi or ki, ji, ki, gi, chi. Okay, we have many ji, chi sounds like chi, zi, but they all pertain to the sound of animating principle, of life force, of life power itself. It expresses the breath of life, the unseen force, and the vital union between form and energy, the breath of creation, the charge of spirit, and the pulse of existence. Chi, 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 chi. So it was pretty much the heartbeat itself. Okay. It was the heartbeat itself. Yes. But we find, strangely enough, we find this sound, this word, these ideas in the Albanian language, the only one. So we don't find this sound in other European or Indo-European, well, in other Indo-European, yes, but not in other European words, languages. So what has happened here? How did this sound travel to Albanian speaking people? And how did they come to use this sound for intercourse, for sex, for love, for power, and for brilliance or consciousness? So you have for chi, vichiri, but you have also ch, ch, which is this, that, here, now. So very many words pertaining to existence itself, but also the power of creation, which is sex, sex itself. Okay. So chi sound and semantic spread. Here I've gathered some of the places that this sound is found, but it is found in more languages and more places, also in Africa and other places in Asia as well. That I have not included, but I just included the biggest ones because it's enough with the biggest ones, really. But what we see here is Albanian Chi, intercourse, union, power, and then the Chinese energy, life force, breath, Japanese spirit, essence, mood, Korean life energy, breath, Vietnamese air, breath, energy, Sanskrit life, soul, Turkic spirit, and then we have the Arabic loaned one, Chiama, which means resurrection or rising. But this word has traveled and it is very old. And for some reason, this is how the European languages connect with the other ones because of this word. It connects the. So, has this word traveled to Albanian speaking people a very long time ago? Or, um, or did they share this idea once upon a time? Were they the same people? And then they split, right? Is that what happened? We don't know. We don't know, but we will discover it together. Yes, because this word must be very old. It must be very old because it pertains to the first thing man and woman could realize, which was obviously themselves and uh, making love, having sex, the principle of creation itself. Okay, so I will end this here now, and then we will continue on with the next video, because otherwise these videos become so long. Thank you for listening so far. Have a good evening or day wherever you are. Thank you very much. Cheers.